Hello friends, welcome back to A Knitter's Life. This is episode 19. And I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed the short little, I can't say it right, podcast postcard that I put up on Sunday. And several of you have emailed me and just said how much you loved it and found it inspiring. And I'm so glad. I'm so glad to know that things that inspire me sometimes also inspire you guys. So that's fun. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. It was definitely happy little things to share with you guys. So, well, how are you guys? Last time I left off in episode 17, I was headed off the following day to the Greencastle Fiber event, which is the first fiber festival that we have here in Indiana. It's the first of the year, I should say. And it always comes in April. Sometimes it's the second week in April, sometimes it's the third week in April. This was nice because it was the third week in April, and so the weather was actually fairly decent for the festival, which is always nice. Sometimes it has been very cold and rainy, and it's just hard. It's hard when it's cold and rainy. I mean, you can bundle up in lots of warm woolies, and you can put on boots, and you can put on a raincoat, but you just end up feeling rather damp, even though you're all bundled up. So it was nice. This time it was sunny and warm, but not too warm, and just very, very pleasant for walking around and going between the two barns. And there were a lot of people there, which was so wonderful. A lot of people to say hello to and chat with, and several of you, which was so fun to catch up with several of you that are in this A Knitter's Life community. So it more people than I expected were there, which is fun. I thought that it would take me a certain amount of time to go through the festival, but it took me twice as long. I told my friend that went down with me that we would probably, we'd be there by this time. It would take us this amount of time to go through the festival, and then we'd be leaving to head back to Indianapolis by this time. Well, I was double it, and I was right. But other than that, I was totally wrong. It was totally off. But it was fun. It was so nice that there were so many of you to talk to and catch up with and see what had interest you in the Fiber Festival and the things that you had purchased. And I don't know, it's always inspiring to see what other people are interested in. So it was fun. I would love to do more festivals and events, just to go and see people and catch up with people and just share the community. But maybe someday, we'll see. Right now I stick close to home because that's where I'm needed, but it was fun. It was fun for the day, so it was good. I didn't get a ton of things at the fair, but I'd love to show you what I did get. I always love to go and look for things that either I can't find in my local yarn shop or spinning things, because I feel like I love to spin fiber, but it's sometimes hard to find just the loveliest thing to spin with, and it's always so nice when you can touch it and feel it in person. So of course I had to get Joanna Spring of Knit Spin Farm was there. And you can see she does have an Etsy shop, so you guys can get her stuff. I feel like, I could be wrong, but I think this was the first time she was vending at Greencastle. So I think, I might be wrong, and Joanna, correct me in the group if I'm wrong. But it was such a joy to have her there so that we could buy her lovely bats. This is the one that I chose, and the color is Afternoon Thunderstorm. Doesn't it look like it does, doesn't it? Afternoon Summer Thunderstorm. This one was made out of Blueface Leicester, Corriedale, Finn, Merino, Shetland, and Silk. And that's one of the things that I love about her bats. There's a lot of joy packed into them. They're very interesting and fun to spin. And since I had just finished her bat that I purchased at the Knitting Pipeline Retreat, I thought it was high time for me to buy another one, so that I could spin it. This I have in mind, spinning this up and then knitting a hat for John. Now I realized how dumb. I have 2 boys. I need to knit for them, both of them. Probably need to make a hat for both of them. So I guess in my mind, I've always thought, John is the boy and Arthur's the baby. Well, Arthur's growing up now, so they're 2 boys, and they really like to get things at the same time. So I'm having to switch this in my head that yes, you need to buy 2 of things. So since I did not buy 2 afternoon thunderstorms, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this as a single of some gray Shetland that I have, and then ply it together. This is 3 ounces, so if I do 3 ounces of the Shetland, that will give me 6 ounces, and that should give me enough to do a hat for a 6-year-old and a hat for a 2-year-old. So we'll see. I could be totally wrong. The other little thing that I picked up was some fiber, some more fiber, of course. This was so fun too. This was a surprise. A long time ago, probably 5 years ago. That feels like a long time to me, but it really isn't, is it? 5 years ago, I taught a class at the local yarn shop where I worked on dyeing fiber for spinning. And one of the ladies in the class really took off with it. She did so well, and she just started dyeing fiber. And she was in my spinning group too at the yarn shop. And so she would bring in once a month the fiber that she had dyed, and some of us would buy it because it was just so gorgeous. And I asked her, I said, hey, have you ever thought about selling this in the shop here? Because we're looking for some more sources of fiber. And she said, sure. So I set that up for us, for the local yarn shop, to buy fiber from her. And then I said, have you ever considered going to the Greencastle, because it would be great. So she went that year to Greencastle and had a booth, and it was fun to go and see her. And I bought some more fiber from her there at that first year that she was in Greencastle. And then I hadn't seen her since then, and I hadn't seen her at Greencastle, although I have missed a few years, the last few years. So she may have been there and I just missed it. But this time when I went, she was like right in the first store, and Sassy Bee Fibers, you can't miss it. She had a huge big sign, and I said, Cinda, do you remember me? She's like, oh yes, Christina Wall, I remember you. And so it was so fun to see someone that you taught something, like, take off with it. She had a big booth with dyed fiber, and then she got into making bats. And this is the bat that I got from her, bought from her. It's 4 ounces, and it's this beautiful coral color. It has Angelina in there, so it's a little sparkly. It is Corriedale and Angelina, and the color is Coral Snake. And unfortunately, I don't think she has an Etsy shop. She doesn't have one listed on here, but you could always look her up, Sassy Bee Fibers. So that was a lot of fun. It's always wonderful to see that somebody that you taught is continuing the making process. I don't know. It's neat, and neat to see them add in their own flavor and zest. So it was fun. So I had to buy that from her. I wanted to buy a ton of things. She had such great fiber, and so I was so glad. I was so glad to find 2 wonderful fiber bats, because I really like spinning fiber bats. I used to only spin top, but now I really, really love to spin the bats. They're a lot of fun. So anyway, so that is all that I picked up. Well, I should take that back. I found little yarn earrings with needles in it, and I had to get those. And then I also found some soap that was really nice. They're little soap balls. Oh, it smells wonderful, like peppermint and lavender all mixed together. So I bought only 2 of them. I was so mad that I only bought 2. And I have used one up, and then I put this one, because it's so nice, into my knitting, my project bag, because it makes my project smell so wonderful. So, anyways, it's like aromatherapy every time I open up my knitting bag. I did find 2 other cute things, and I'm going to go and get them, so just a minute. Okay, I'm back with the cute things. Check them out. Aren't they adorable? They're little felted fuzzy bunnies. When I saw these, I knew I had to get these for the boys. They're like the perfect size to hold in your hand. So those were by this great big Angora bunny that you could pick up and touch, which was incredible. I thought, maybe that would be a fun animal to have for the boys. An Angora bunny. I get to enjoy the fiber, and then the boys get to have a pet. No. In my dreams. I don't think we're ready for a pet just yet. Well, they are. I don't think I am, if that makes sense. Right now we have a very sweet arrangement with the neighbor across the street and the neighbor next door. When the kids want to play with a doggy, they just come over to our backyard, and the kids run around and play with the doggy. Across the street, our friends, our neighbors, got a big standard poodle that is still a puppy and really needs to run. So they bring him over to our backyard, and the kids and the puppy, I mean, it's a full grown, it's a big dog. They just run around the backyard and get out energy. It's wonderful. We had a play date last night, and it was wonderful. The boys went right to sleep at 8 o'clock. That's the best kind of doggy to have, because you can send them home and you don't have to clean up the things around the backyard, if you know what I mean. But anyways, it's perfect for us right now. I'm never ever ruling out not having a dog, because you just don't do that. But there's always seasons of life for things. So not quite our season. So anyways, all of that is to say, we had a wonderful time at the Greencastle Fiber Fair, and I'm ready for another fiber event. But I don't know if there's one coming anytime soon that I can go to, so we'll see. As for works completed, okay, I finished and blocked my great big garter stitch tunic. And if you remember, this was a vest that I did from the top down. You can kind of see. It's the kind of quasi-raglan seamless style. I really like that kind of vest. There aren't too many vests like that out there, but I really like it. And then I just put a very simple cable in the front. Cables that I could cable without a cable needle, because cabling without a cable needle is bliss for me. So this is a very blissful project to knit. And of course it's finished just in time for it to be warm weather. But that's okay. I'm gonna get a zipper for it, and then I'm going to put it away in my cedar chest for the fall, and I'll have something to look forward to wearing. So I'm very happy with that. There is no pattern for that one. It's just an idea that I've had in my mind. I'm not too sure that I am ready to write it up as a pattern, but we'll see. I don't know. I think it needs to be tweaked a little bit. And I finished a few more hats for little angel gowns. I'm using the Preemie Hats for Charity by Clarissa Brown. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and she has lots of different options for different styles, which is fun, because you don't feel like you can knit your way through each style, and then by the time that you're back around to the first one, you're ready for the first one again. So you never get bored knitting it, if that makes any sense. There's enough variety in that pattern that you can keep circling around and knitting it. This one doesn't have the ends woven in yet, but I finished it. It has little seed stitch hearts in it, and I need to block that out. I'm using Knit Picks Brava Sport because they said they prefer a white acrylic. So I'm doing that. Now I'm going to stop and make, I think I have one more hat on the needles, and then I'm going to stop and make booties for these, and then I'll drop these off, and then I'll start again. So keep on making them, right? I was so touched and delighted that several of you really wanted to go ahead and knit for little angel gowns, and a few of you found angel gown organizations in your area, which is wonderful, and you went and volunteered, which is so just absolutely amazing. I'm so thankful that you guys wanted to participate too in any way you could, and it's also fun to have other people knitting along and giving of their knitting in that way. And if you have a different charity that you knit for and that you like to knit for, that is fine. You knit for that charity. We don't need everybody to knit for the same charity. Each charity has its own importance and specialness, so don't ever feel that one charity is more important than the other, or that something is not special because it's not, you know, the charity that I've chosen to knit for, or your friend has chosen to knit for. Each charity has its own specialness, and I think that you can be called to knit for a specific charity. I mean, if you have a unique, you're drawn to a charity, and you have a unique affinity for that charity, that's wonderful. Knit for that charity, and there's a lot of us out there, so it will all be covered. It will be all okay. So I have finished some of those, and then just one other little thing that I finished, and well, I finished this. This is fun to show you. I made a pillow cover for out here in the sunroom. I forgot to say, I'm out in the sunroom. I'm not usually where I normally am, but it was nice enough today, and it was this perfect spot to do it, so I don't interrupt the boys in what they're doing, and my husband. So anyways, we're out here, you're out here with me. So I made this pillow cover, and then I always I made it out of Painter's drop cloth. I know, I'm crazy, right? This is Painter's drop cloth I got at Lowe's, and then I washed in the washer, and then I just laid out my pillow on it, and I cut around, you know, the size, and then I sewed a cover, and it's like an envelope cover. Then I went around the edge and did like a little whip stitch, if you can see it. And then I crocheted into that whip stitch to give me a nice little edge. And then I just used some scraps, and I think I have, this is Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport, and then this is Tosh Vintage right here, the pink. So in the blush colorway, it's a really pretty pink. I love that pink. So that was fun. I think I could spend my whole days just making pillows and crocheting around them. It's so rewarding and so fast and so fun. So the other thing that I did, I've been crocheting little, I think it dropped. Oh, here it is. I was inspired by the, well, I'm using it as a coaster. It could probably be a pot holder. But I was inspired by this coaster that Amelia sent me in the post, and it came with a teacup on top of it, and it looked so pretty that I wanted to make some more to have as teacup coasters, because it was just so pretty. So I made this one out of some, I think it's the Knit Picks Dishy. It's the 100% cotton. Here it is. Knit Picks Dishy, just good old cotton. And I got a few colors, or I have a few colors, so I'm going to do several different combinations. Although, since I started doing this, everybody started to do that hexagon weekender blanket. And I have thought, oh, wouldn't that be pretty as a hexagon weekender crocheted blanket? So I don't know. There's too many ideas and there's too many things to knit or crochet, isn't there? But anyways, I think I am going to make a few more of these. So I was thankful for Amelia's inspiration. It's fun to be inspired by friends. So I am in there in doing that. Now, as speaking of inspiration and being inspired by people, I have found two other, I think there's three, but two other podcasters in specific that I wanted to mention that I found inspiring because they're different, and I don't know, difference always inspires me. The first one is the Yarn Fosterer, and I think I've mentioned Terry before. I can't remember, but if I haven't, I need to mention him. One of you, the lovely Heather, to Nandy on Ravelry, she mentioned that I would like to watch the Yarn Fosterer, and so sent me his links, and I did, and I love it. I think if I would term him the king of hats, because he is so prolific in knitting hats, and he's so good at it. I'm going to use him as my hat encyclopedia for when I want to knit a good hat. I'm going to go back and look through his podcasts and his Ravelry pages so that I can see which hats are really good, because he has knit so many different kinds of hats, and I found it really inspiring. Since I don't knit a lot of hats, I found it very inspiring and helpful. And then the other one that I found very inspiring was Sockmatician, and I'm sure a few of you have already watched Nathan, and he has a great love and affinity for double knitting, which is so cool because I feel like there isn't a lot of designers that design double knitted projects, and there aren't a lot of knitters, at least in my area, that knit double knitting. But it's a fascinating technique, and he's designed really nice projects, not just corny ones, really nice ones. I really want to do his Remembrance cowl. It's a cowl it's black and red with poppies on it, and I just think that that's so stunning. I want to do the cowl, but then Nathan, I want you to do a hat. I want a beret with the poppies right here. So if you can figure out how to do that, because I think it'd be so fun to wear a cowl that has the poppies on it and then do reverse colors and do a beret and wear it as a set. So do you think you can design that for me? I don't design in double knitting, so there is no way that I am going to attempt that in the least bit. So anyways, so I will put links to that in the show notes, because I think that some of you would really enjoy Terry and Nathan and the things that they are knitting and things that they have to say. So, well, okay, on to works in progress. If you remember, I was knitting on these socks for me, and this is Croy sock yarn in the Summer Moss colorway. And John came up to me and said, "Oh, Mama, I want socks. I want you to knit me some socks." And I haven't knit him socks since he was 2, and he wouldn't wear them. So I gave up. I don't want him to ever have to wear things that I make. I want him to want to wear them. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I don't want him to ever say, "Oh, my mom knit me all these things and I had to wear them." I want him to want them, because I don't want to force my art on him. I want him to be inspired by the things that I like, if he's so inspired by it. John is very creative in a very different aspect than I am creative. He loves to draw, and right now he's fascinated with drawing gauges. The complex set of gauges that he comes up with every day is just so amazing. In the morning, he's so excited about getting up and working at his desk in his room, and he comes out downstairs to breakfast with this whole new set of gauges that he's designed, and they're gauges for cars, or sometimes they're gauges for trains or trucks, or airplanes. So it depends on what vehicle he's interested at the moment, but at rest time, we always have an hour rest time, and he can listen to something up in his room, or he can draw or color or make or create or play. There's lots of things in his rooms that he likes to do, and usually he makes gauges. So then he comes down, and usually there's this whole panel of gauges, and we have to make little needles for them that go back and forth. And for the longest time, I didn't know what those little centers, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, the little centers that you use for needles in gauges, pretend gauges. They're called brads, B-R-A-D-S. I have become prolific at putting brads in because he comes down with a set of gauges, and have to put in at least 6 to 9 brads every time after rest time. I've become really good at it. I have my scissors and my cardboard and my brads all sitting there waiting for when he comes down. But anyways, I've digressed. He's creative in a different way that I am creative, and I like to foster that rather than push what I am creative on him. So when he said, "Oh, Mom, I want a pair of socks," I was delighted. So I got out my sock yarn and I said, "Well, you choose the color." So he chose these very colorful socks, and he loved the stripes. So I finished sock number 1, and I am working on sock number 2. And this is Koi sock yarn, and if I'm remembering correctly, it's the fall foliage colorway. So here it is. And I've just done a vanilla sock with his, what I do is I make a little template of the feet of the person that I'm going to be knitting for, and then I measure the width here and the circumference of the foot, and that is the number of stitches that I cast on up here. And then he doesn't like his socks very tall, so I didn't do a very tall cuff. Then I like to do very quick and easy, because it's hard wearing, is a garter stitch, wrap and turn, short row heel. The wraps get hidden because it's garter stitch, so you never have to pick them up, which is really nice. And then just a regular decreased toe. These aren't blocked yet, but so I put my little paper pamphlet out because then it tells me, okay, here is the here's the ball of his foot. This is the length that I have to knit in between the heel and the decrease for the toes. So it's really nice and easy, and I can slip it in there and see if I got it just right, and I did. So I always keep those in my knitting bag. So far I just have mine, my mother's, JK's, and now John's. So, because those are the people that I like to knit socks for. So those are a work in progress, and it's fun. I'm so delighted that he asked for socks. The other work in progress is my beautiful Flea, a lady's cardigan by Anne Murr. And the lovely Anne contacted me in Ravelry and said, "Oh, I'm so excited that you're knitting the cardigan, and would you like to give away 3 patterns to your community?" And I said, I would love to. So here it is. Here's my version of it. I used the colors that I had in my stash, so it really needs to be blocked, but you get the idea. Isn't it pretty? It's grays and blues and beautiful gold. So I am going to open a thread and see if any of you would like to knit the Flea, a lady's cardigan. Just go ahead and I'll come up with a question in there, but there will be a separate thread, and I'll have the details of how long that little giveaway is going to last. And then Anne is going to send you a little PDF pattern of Flea, a lady's cardigan. It is such a nice cardigan. It's very well written, so you all will enjoy it. And she gives you several different color combinations and ideas for combining, so it's well done. So I'm really enjoying that. Right now I'm at the point, you can see, where I'm just doing the little fleas. or lice. I think they're also called lice, but it's the really easy knitting. So this is my TV knitting at night when I'm so tired and ready to fall asleep, and I keep it by my chair, by the TV, and that is that. It's been so nice. It's one of those relaxing knits to work on. So, and that's just in one of my crazy project bags that I make. Another work in progress is in this new bag that I got. The weekend of the Fiber Fair was also my birthday weekend, which was fun. And the lovely Gina made this for me for my birthday because, as she said, and I think she is totally right, we need spring and summer project bags so that we can change out our project bags for spring and summer and then fall and winter. And I heartily agree with her. She has some really good ideas. So in this project bag by the lovely Gina, Brownie Knits podcast, is my Curious Handmade Pebble Beach shawl. And she is just re-releasing this pattern. You can see it, this beautiful orchid color. She is re-releasing this pattern with several different sizes. So I am knitting from the first pattern that was released, and I am doing the fingering weight size. So anyways, it's really, really, really well done. It's a very good shawl pattern. She at first I had a little bit of a hard time just because I'm such a visual person. I like to see the charts of things, because that if I can see a chart, I just grab it in my mind. But this is just a series of yarn overs, so why would you need a chart? And of course there isn't a chart in there. You don't need it. But because there wasn't a chart, I couldn't see it and memorize it instantly, and so I had to work from each line by line, and until my work got big enough and I could actually see it in my work, and then I'm like, oh, of course, it clicked, and I could just work from it. So it's a well done pattern, and you all would enjoy it. It's a good knit. The yarn that I'm using is Old Town Yarns. It's from Old Town Yarns in Edinburgh, Scotland, and this is Blueface Leicester 4-ply in the Gothic colorway. My sister, let's see, go this way. My sister got this for me when she was in Scotland 2 years ago, so it's a fun thing to use. Because it's Blueface Leicester, it will have lots of drape and a little bit of sheen to it, so it'll make a really, really lovely spring weight shawl. So I'm really enjoying that one. I'm trying not to go too fast on that project because I'm really enjoying it. Isn't that kind of bad? You don't want it to end. I should just tell myself I'm going to knit another one, and it'll go as fast as you want, and just knit a second one because you're enjoying it so much. There is one more thing that I have, and this is purely here we go. This is in a project bag. I got inspired by Gina saying we need summer and spring project bags, so I made myself my own project bag, and this is out of a vintage linen tea towel that I found, and the embroidery was just too gorgeous on it to put in a drawer, so I thought I should make it into a project bag, so I did. So this is my de-stressing, in other words, knitting to de-stress myself. Whenever I am anxious or stressed, I always gravitate to knitting garter stitch. If you follow this podcast for very long, you'll find out that yes, I gravitate back to garter stitch. I love the texture because it's not just knitting, it's not just the act of just knitting and no purling, it's the texture. I like to feel that texture, because I can't just knit in the round. Like knitting a sock doesn't do it for me, or knitting stocking knit stitch in the round doesn't do it for me. It's something about the feel of the texture. It's crazy, isn't it? But I am knitting a quarters cap for the family by Kristen Nicholas, and this is such a fun hat. She said, she writes this in the pattern, when I was naming this cap, I said to a friend, these caps are so addictive, I can't stop knitting them. She quickly quipped back to me, well, maybe you should name it the potato chip cap, since nobody can eat only one potato chip. In the end, I went with quarters cap, but you can call it what you like. I have knit this before, and it is really addictive because it's fun. You knit this in short row sections, and so you're just knitting back and forth in garter stitch, and then you seam it together. And she has sizes for everybody in the family, which is wonderful. So I am thinking ahead, and this is just some bright colored hand spun that I have, and I'm starting to just make some hats for the boys, and I'll put them away. This is one of the hats that I made a while ago. It was first for John, and then Arthur has gotten a lot of use out of it, and you can see the different quarters. You can do it so many different ways. You can knit the quarters one color and then add on another color, so you have 4 different colors in the hat. You can stripe it. You could even change the stripes. You could do, there's just so many different combinations you could do. But I'm really enjoying that. That's a good pattern. It's a pay-for pattern on Ravelry, but it's definitely worth it. So I think I'm going to knit my husband one too, and myself one. They're just so fun. They're fun to knit. And we knit because we enjoy it and want to have fun, right? So, well, as always, there's more to show you, but I need to go. So I will sign off for now. We can catch up with each other over in the Ravelry group, and the Ravelry group is A Knitter's Life, and you can catch me also on Instagram as A Knitter's Life. So anyways, I look forward to chatting with you guys, and until next time, happy knitting.